Okay, so the question is asking here to solve the equation given, and then once we find the solution, we have to find the product of the solutions. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play with this 2/3, and I'm going to rewrite it as x to the 1/3 squared. I'm going to make that 4, a little more off to the side. Okay, everything else I'm going to leave the same. Now I will do this. I will put this x to the 1/3 in parentheses. So what the heck am I doing? Well, what I'm doing here is we have these 1/3 here, right? And the reason we have these, we want it written as such, is since they're matching, I can say let x to the 1/3 represent some letter. I'm going to say y. You can pick whatever letter you want. So now I'm left with 4y squared minus 9y equals 9. And I like this because if I have everything in terms of y, then it's just a basic trinomial. So I'll subtract 9. And all I have to do is factor this out. So let's do that. So let's try 2y, 3 and 3. That'll give me 6. That'll give me 6. That's going to break the bank. So we're not going to use that one. Let's try 4y and y, and then 9 and 1. And that's going to give me 4 and 9. And that's not going to work. So let me draw a line through that. And let me go back to 2y and 2y. And I didn't try 9 and 1. So let me go, well, that's not going to work. Because if I do that, I'm going to get 2 and 18, so that's not going to work. So I guess the only thing I got left is 4y and y and 3 and 3. So that's 12 and that's 9. That's 12 and that's 3, and that definitely works. Now I want a negative. So I need to make the bigger one negative and the smaller one positive. So you can see that's positive 3, negative 12, and that will give me what I'm looking for. So this is going to be equal to 0. So 4y plus 3 equals 0, and y minus 3 equals 0. And this breaks down to what? This gives me minus 3 minus 3. 4y equals negative 3, plus 3 plus 3, y equals 3. Now, the question is not asking me for y, so you have to be careful because a lot of times people forget that we originally said x equals 1/3. So I'm going to take the 4y minus 3 and I'm going to use the y equals 3. So I need to do this on a new page. So 4y equals, what is it, negative 3. And the other one was y equals 3. And we had substituted in x as y as 1/3 of x. So now I'm replacing it back. So again, we don't have, they're giving us y. Y is x to the 1/3. So I replace it as such, and I'm just going to divide by 4. And you could have divided by 4 here too. I don't know why I didn't do that. So we get x to the 1/3 equals negative 3 over 4. And here we're going to do, we just have x to the 1/3. Alright, so now we're going to cube both sides. We're going to raise it to the 3. The reason we do that is because the rule is that we multiply these together, so that goes away. So x is going to equal to, we're going to do negative 3 to the 3rd, and we're also going to go 4 to the 3rd. So negative 3 to the 3rd is 27. 4 to the 3rd is 64. Play the same game here. X is 27. So those are my two answers, and I believe the question had said find the product. Yep, product of the solutions. So we are going to do 27 times 64 times 27 And so we have to do 27 squared. I don't know what 27 squared is, but there's this cool little trick that you can do. If I bump this up 3, and I bump this down 3, you have 30 and you have 24. Multiply those together. That's not hard. 3 days is 72 hours, so 720. And then you add whatever you bumped it up. 3 squared, and this gives me 729. So the top would be 729. The bottom would still be 64. Also, this trick right here works because it's a byproduct of actually the difference of squares. So what you do is, the reason why it works is, if you think of the difference of squares is x minus y times x, x plus y times x minus y equals x squared minus y squared. And if I add y squared over to the other side, you get x plus y times x minus y plus y squared equals x squared. And what I did was I said, if I'm squaring 27, then this is 27 squared, which means all my x's are 27. And you can see what I did with the plus or the minus 3. The plus 3 and the minus 3 can be inserted here and inserted here. And that's why it works. So when I added 3 to get to 30, and I subtracted 3 to get to 24, I did that because 30 times 24 is easier than 27 times 27. And then when I added 3 squared, all of that just comes from the fact that this is true. Hence, I can procedurally generate that. So that's an example of, like, sometimes people are like, why do we learn the difference of squares? How is that useful? There's a case that it's useful. If you saw that and you're like, I just want to do 27 times 27, that's fine. If we're asked to find the product, it's going to be 729 over 64, and there's your answer. So hopefully that makes sense, and I'll see you in the next video.